Hello everyone, welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Austin Yorsky and Johnny Maloney. We are here to talk about... Man, I don't even know.
Suicide Squad was so bad!
Oh, okay, we can do that. I mean, certainly.
I don't really know that there's anything else to say about it.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that does say it all. If you wanted to elaborate, I mean, we will hear you. But if you would rather purge it from your memory, like with the Men in Black flashy thing,
neuralizer.
It's
called a neuralizer.
I honestly have nothing, absolutely nothing to say about how bad this movie was. Nothing else to say, at least, anyways. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
Everything from the MacGuffin to the pacing to the supporting cast, they had some very competent, good actors in this movie, and nothing to work with. People said things about it, I was like, it can't possibly be worse than Batman v Superman. That hour-long fight scene at the end. I was just like, nah, I mean, you can get so much worse than that. Honestly, I'm aghast.
Well, the big difference in my mind from between Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, and why I think Batman v Superman, although terrible, is still better, is that Batman v Superman is ambitious in what it is trying to do, whereas Suicide Squad is really happy in the gutter. It's it's terrible down here and it's gross. I love it. Whereas Batman v Superman was reaching for something. It didn't achieve it. I admire ambition, but that was the extent of it for me. I still think Batman v Superman was just atrocious. But I think Suicide Squad is worse just by that comparison.
I will grant it this. Okay?
Yeah.
I will grant it this. That first segment of the movie where they're sitting around a dinner table and just reading the script out to us, which, I mean, if you want to be reductive, yeah, okay, that's any movie, really, all right, is where somebody is reading us a script, essentially. But I've never seen it dressed up so little. It's not even reading the script. It's the first 30 minutes of the movie are asking somebody who has read the script to describe to us what the movie is about. That's what the first 30 minutes of that movie are. But in that segment, somehow they managed to make Captain Boomerang not sound totally goddamn ridiculous.
In some ways, Boomerang was one of the least terrible parts of the movie.
I acknowledge this, but I mean, I'm trying to imagine a world in which I sit down and somebody pitches to me. They're I think this is the best idea for our high stress response team in the world. I've got a guy. Now bear with me here, okay? He's really good with boomerangs.
Do you guys think that Captain Boomerang will be back for the sequel?
Oh,
I think they will probably give him a promotion. He might be Major Boomerang.
I feel like he might circle around.
There we go. I haven't seen that movie. You guys didn't get the you guys didn't get the memo. We're not a pop culture podcast anymore. This is now a normal company / normal building podcast, and that's the only topic I'm really interested in anymore. You thought that was a one-off joke, but hey, we're back. Do you guys have any new hot breaking normal company facts for us?
You know what? I have a new segment about cornices.
Corni?
Yes, yeah. That's and the different types of cornices that you might want to use on your particular buildings.
Okay, so it's architecture joke time. Johnny, you have the floor.
Okay, all right. So probably the most popular type of cornice right now is what's known as a box cornice. Okay.
Oh.
Now the box cornice, the reason why it's so popular is that it's very normal. Okay. It is exactly how it sounds. It's just it's a box, really. It's a long, narrow box, like a rectangle. Depending on how wide your building is, that's how long this rectangle is. Now, the interesting thing about the box cornice is
I don't think it's allowed to be interesting.
Well, you can jazz it up really easily, with just like a little bit of pattern work and things like that. You know, not too much because I mean we're not the Audacious Company here.
I wonder how much of our audience had to Google cornice and how much thought that's not worth it. The payoff for that joke is not worth the actual
It's really
typing.
not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the people who expended the effort right there. That was a flagrant waste of your time.
I'll let you know right now that I'm the latter.
It's just a ledge. It's like a decorative.
No, I mean I figured it out in context after he started to talk about it. But yeah.
Breaking news, everyone! Everyone, shut up! It's breaking news time. The
Okay.
Felidar Guardian.
Do you need the breaking news theme song?
It's too late. I've already let it out of the bag. The Felidar Guardian has been banned from standard play. It's been rocky in standard right now since the release of Aether Revolt, but the Felidar Guardian is dead, and so the Saheeli Rai combo is no more. And once
Who killed him?
God damn it.
Wizards
Austin,
of the Coast.
There go my hopes and dreams.
Were you playing a Saheeli Rai deck, Johnny? Do you
I
have any idea what I'm talking about?
I hoped and dreamed to one day, now that I have heard about it just at this moment.
This is actual breaking news. That's only kind of a joke. There was a Magic the Gathering card that created an infinite combo.
You don't say. There's a...
Yeah.
I gleaned that that's what we were talking about.
You could make an... actually, sorry, it's not infinite. It was arbitrarily large number of cats. And then you win the game because you could just say, I make 100 Googleplex cats. And then that was a legal move. And then you just be like, I attack with all my cats. And then you win. And so they finally banned that cat, which is actually... it looks more like a dog with antlers to me. The Felidar. Are you guys... You probably don't know what a Felidar is.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Some of my best friends are Felidars. Austin.
Okay. They're like dogs with antlers, but their type is cat. So that's the thing that's happening in Magic the Gathering right now. Also, next week, Amonkhet comes out, which is the Egyptian-themed world. And I had thoughts about that, but at this point, I'm mostly talking about Magic to troll Leon. Leon, how are you feeling about my trolling so far? Does it make the product that we're creating right now inaccessible to you?
No, it doesn't bother me because I can still like joke that I know what you're talking about, and that is actually pretty funny to me.
Oh, that's amazing. And slightly more accessible news. I have discovered the podcast done by Magic's like head of development, Rosewater. I talked about before. He used to write for Roseanne. Mark Rosewater turns out is not just the creator of Magic the Gathering, or not creator, that was Richard Garfield, the head of Magic the Gathering and writer for Roseanne. He's also a really good podcaster, it turns out. And I've been listening to his podcast, which is called Drive to Work, in which he drives to work and talks about stuff. And a lot of it's Magic related, which is interesting to me, but also a lot of it is not, which I think might be interesting to a more general audience. Like he talks about like creativity and like working in groups and like just like certain like philosophy of game design that's applicable to like video games, and just like a weird obscure history of like board games in the 90s and all kinds of like cool stuff like that. And so I've been really into that recently. So that's a slightly more grokkable topic for people who don't play this card game that I've suddenly become inexplicably very interested in over the last couple of months.
I don't know if it's inexplicable exactly, but
it's if you listen to the first like 500 things I've recorded on the internet, like BT Community Podcast, BT Podcast, the most of Word Funk, I never mentioned it once.
I'm not suggesting it's not sudden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's been a drastic upshoot in the frequency of the words magic, gathering, and the, not necessarily in that order, on this podcast, but I think your interest in it is not what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a foreign concept. It's not unheard of. This is, Austin, if we're talking truth here, probably the most popular collectible card game that is on at least North American shelves.
It's very, very popular, and it's an interesting thing that I've been learning while listening to it is like the evolution of its popularity. Like in the beginning, it was so popular that they couldn't even keep it on shelves, and they had everyone ordered like 10 times what they needed, just so that if they got a percentage of that, they'd be able to like put it in stock.
Yeah.
And then there was a couple times where the game almost died. One of which was Mirrodin, which is when I stopped playing, and that was because Mirrodin was so atrociously busted. It was like, from a design standpoint, basically on fire. And then ever since, basically, they've been having the best year ever every year. And one of the things I learned on this podcast was 38% of the players are women.
All right.
I thought that was a surprisingly high number. Maybe that's my own, like, just understanding of the board game scene. But he's basically like, you know, your play group, the people you see at comic book shops or wherever you get your cards are not representative of the actual demographics. And
maybe women don't feel like playing with a bunch of gross dudes.
I mean, almost certainly, but it also goes to like he's talking about diversity and stuff, and like how they've had a very concerted effort to make more female main characters and make them more prominent and interesting, and like how that's paid off. And it's like, who would have thought people wanted to see themselves in the products they consume? And like the last set was basically set in like fantasy India, but they didn't like use any of the religion because people still practice those religions. But now they're doing Egypt, where they are essentially dead religions, and so it's not at all about the culture so much as it is about the fantasy version of the religion. Just stuff like that I think is really cool. I'm trying to think what else I heard on there that I could share that you guys would care about. It's a very narrow needle to thread for Leon.
Sorry.
Yeah. He used to be a stand-up comic, Rosewater, and he talked about how he got it's like stage advice from Louis C.K. like when he was in college, which is pretty cool. And also he says John Goodman is very funny in person, which gives me hope for the world.
Good.
I like the idea that John Goodman is cool.
That John Goodman is a good man.
Yeah, I never thought of myself as being very invested in the John Goodman experience, but it would very much bum me out if he was a dick. I don't know why. I have no idea where that's coming from. But when I learned he was cool, I was like, yes, validated. So I'm in the middle of law school exams right now. Not just like taking them this week, but literally as we speak, I should be working.
You were doing an exam now?
I should be.
Oh, right. You have one of those weird, like, take-home exam things, don't you?
Yeah, I have a 24-hour contracts exam because it's a lot of reading and writing, and it's not really suited to the sitting at a desk format. Yeah?
If we help you with it right now, is that cheating?
It would be if I shared any of the contents with you, although in practical terms, you probably would actually hurt my attempts to fill this out. Although you guys have been doing really good at Law Corner. So who knows?
I feel like if you just give it to Johnny, he will just guess all the right answers.
Yeah, I really want to play this game with you, but I also don't want to get kicked out. So
that's fair.
Probably
That's fair.
for the best. Although it would be really interesting to smoke out who in the faculty is an avid listener of Word Funk.
I thought you were going to say it would be really interesting just to smoke out while taking your contracts exams.
No, that's
I'm going to hotbox this fucking exam. Holy shit.
That's not very interesting at all. That ranks right up there with, oh my god, guys, we are so funny when we're drunk. We should just, like, record ourselves and put it on the internet. That's not a good idea.
I come on. I'm really into the idea of turning in my exam and it just reeks of weed. That would be amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to hotbox it to do that. There are ways that you can imbue your exam with particular scents without it actually affecting your ability to properly perform on said exam.
I guess.
Much like the Magic the Gathering conversation, I'm just trying to figure out what you guys are talking about, like in context, like by using clues on the words you were saying.
Yeah, you're
pretty good.
You're such an innocent little cinnamon roll. What are you? How do you even live in this big mean world?
I barely leave the apartment.
Oh dang.
So
it's
that
funny because
sounds nice.
You talk about like when you're drunk you think you're funnier than you are and like haha weed's funny. I think my main problem with weed is that it's like super boring and innocent, basically. Like, the marijuana that exists in the year 2017 is so much more powerful than the stuff in, like, the 60s and 70s that it's essentially a different plant. Like, we've hydroponicked the hell out of it. And even still, I don't think it is powerful enough to even be interesting. Like, I'm not even... It's not... Like, I'd rather eat a cheeseburger. Like, what? Why is everyone so freaked out about weed? All it does is make you chill for, like, at a couple hours at max. It's nothing. Sorry, is that controversial? I think weed's pretty boring.
I don't think that's very controversial at all.
Like, I'm not saying you should get into, like, the hardest stuff for the rush. Like, oh, we gotta do that meth. That's when I can feel it. I'm just saying, like, why is it such a huge stigma? I guess there's, historical reasons why it's, like, stigmatized and illegal. That's a actually fairly easily answered question. I don't know why I asked it.
It's taboo. It's still taboo.
It's a combination of racism and money.
Yeah,
like most things.
Well,
I think that the closer we get to legalization and things like that, we're gonna find that, like, the stoner comedy genre of whatever is gonna drop off pretty hard.
I think it might be more present, just in, like, lower doses. There won't be, like, whole movies about, like, what if these people smoked weed? Like, that was a genre unto itself. Now I think, like, everything will have, like, low grade weed humor available to it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think just as more people understand what it actually does, the less, like, fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get those movies anymore.
Yeah, where they treat it like a powerful hallucinogen.
Yeah.
Like, I'm seeing rabbits. Everything's on fire and there are unicorns in my butt. It's like, no, it's just like, you just kind of, like, giggle and hang out. One
of the worst butt problems you can actually acquire due to excessive consumption of marijuana.
Butt unicorns, yeah.
I'm just going to let you guys know that this episode is going to be called A Combination of Racism and Money, and apropos of nothing, the banner is going to be our president.
Damn. That's social commentary right there.
It is. Oh, topical.
That's what you call a bait and switch. People are going to be like, ooh,
Right.
There's going to be some hot takes here, and then we start with Suicide Squad.
Or actually, probably what's really going to happen is that, like, I'm kind of tired of politics. I won't listen to this week. Like, that's probably what's actually going to happen.
Good.
Yeah,
get everyone who can't handle it to just back off.
Yeah, and then we get to hide all of our secret opinions in here now.
Yeah,
they're all
I could talk about politics, like, right now, but it's not funny.
No.
It's just stuff that's been on my mind.
It's also a lot of it's obvious, you know,
like how America's taking shots at Canada. What's up with that, America? Huh?
Wait, we are?
No,
when?
It's the Trump's talking about, like, doing, like, a trade war with Canada, basically, because he's just
right. He was talking about, like, there's like a 20% something or other.
He's such a fucking child.
I'm just gonna say that again. Softwood.
Okay.
But, like,
and apparently we're not being fair to the U.S. dairy markets either.
Yeah, listen.
Bunch of cheeseheads.
Every single word he says is either wrong because he's an idiot or an outright lie. And it's not even like back in the other elections where it's like, I disagree with Romney on these issues. It's just like he's just wrong. There's nothing to talk about because he's just wrong or lying always.
Yeah.
Like, I can argue about, like, the relative merits of people I hate, like Mitch McConnell or Paul Ryan or whatever. He's just wrong or lying. That's it. End of sentence.
All I'm gonna say is that if you start placing tariffs on handsome Canadian boys, then there's gonna be trouble
in the neighborhood.
Sure.
Quick.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say last thought on the weed stuff. Everything I said about weed being kind of a weak drug for babies is not applicable to edibles, which will take up your entire day. That's a whole thing. Well, I don't know what bodies do, but that's a separate topic.
All right.
I've talked about weed. I did it.
There you go.
And I'm done.
This is going to sound like a joke, but it's not funny. A few weeks ago, we did an episode. We record on Wednesday nights, in case the audience is wondering. And I kind of joked that by the time we release this episode in a few days, America, could be in another conflict. And then the next day, Trump bombed the government of Libya.
That happened the day after we recorded, or was that day after it released?
Yeah, whereas I believe before we were more focused on ISIS in Libya. There are a lot of players, and we hate everyone apparently. So we're recording this on Wednesday night again, as always. And earlier today, Trump had all 100 United States senators come into the White House, which is unusual. Not for senators to show up, but for all of them at the same time. 'Cause
Obviously,
tensions are
he's wrangling the world's largest game of Pictionary.
Sure. So tensions are rising with North Korea, and I really hope history doesn't repeat itself. So, if like you're listening to this podcast and we're at war with North Korea, that maybe that's my fault. I jinxed us twice. If everything's cool, great. Then this whole entire segment has been meaningless.
How hard would it be to play a game of that, like Guess Who, with like the GOP electorate?
Is he white?
Is he old? Is he a man? Shit, man, I'm out of ideas. I don't know. Who is it? Like, he's just, there's nothing to grasp onto there, huh?
Oh my.
Sorry.
That was a thing.
I guess you'd have to pick and choose who they're a shill for.
Now we're getting too much in the weeds. I know we have a lot of foreign listeners who are just like, I'm tired of hearing about your racist clown. We get it. He's bad. I have like infinity things to talk about this week. For some reason. Did I tell you guys this story about the best prank I've ever seen in person that happened recently?
No. Nope, but I'd like to hear about it.
I'm usually very anti-prank. I feel like mostly it's an excuse just to be mean to people, and it's not really worth the inconvenience. But I saw a prank. I think it was actually on April Fool's Day. I just never got a chance to talk about it, or I thought I told the story and didn't. And it was genuinely very good. And what happened was my contracts professor has a policy that if your phone goes off in class, you have to put it on speakerphone and answer it in front of the whole class, which is pretty funny. But knowing this, on April Fool's Day, one of the kids or adults, I keep saying kids because this is school, one of the students conspired with another professor to pull off a pretty sick prank in which the professor called the student who was in class, so their phone went off. And then when the contracts professor made them answer it on speakerphone, the conversation went thusly, which was, hello, yes, this is Planned Parenthood. We have your test results. And immediately the class had a fucking mental meltdown. And I just watched this like symphony of emotions on the contract professor's face. Because I also didn't know, I thought it was real. And just like all the choices that went on in his face were so evident. He was like, I'm going to get fired. Like, I'm going to get sued. This is over. But they actually, it was funny because everyone who was like in on it immediately confessed. They like didn't drag it out. That's the problem I have with like these prank shows, which I see sometimes, and I know some people are really into, is that they're so dragged out and torturous. But like as soon as the punchline hit, like the professor just walked into the room holding a phone and was like, "Got you. You were embarrassed for a moment, but now it's cool and we're all friends." I really wish I could like bottle this experience and being like, "See, this is a pretty good prank," and no one else should try them anymore because it's been done. You lost. You didn't get there fast enough. It was very funny. I'm so talkative tonight. Someone stop me.
It's okay.
Ooh.
It's a shame because I was about to ask you to do Law Corner, but if you want to stop talking, you can.
I mean, I'm doing exams right now, so I'm not sure what there is to talk about. Like, I don't have any new cases to bring to you guys. I can just be like, hey, what do you guys think about Roe v. Wade? Like, we could just do it, I guess.
I feel like our opinions are probably pretty similar.
Yeah, I think I'm pro-abortion up until like 12 years old. This isn't working out, Timmy. Get back in there. Or I'm gonna fire you into the sun. Sorry, Timmy. You had a chance, Timmy. You fucked up.
Wow. So
this is
great.
Yeah. This is what happens when you don't talk about Normal Company.
Oh, okay.
So how about those cornices?
I muted my mic because I thought someone else was going to jump in, and then you guys all just left me hanging. That's
No, I thought that was much better.
Okay. They added like
Yeah.
1 million Gundam shows to streaming services. For a long time, it was hard to stream Gundam legally, for various boring reasons. But like now, Hulu has like almost all of them, and Crunchyroll also has a bunch. Like G Gundam, the super amazing racist one. Unicorn Gundam's been up for a while. 008 MS Team is like the actual good one. The recommend to a normal person one. 000, I think. Wing Gundam. There's like a ton.
I don't believe that there's actually that much Gundam in the world.
There's so Johnny, it started in 1979 and it's still going.
Nah, I don't think so. I think you must be mistaken about that.
Okie dokie. There's a lot.
I had a physical yesterday.
Did you have an emotional as well? What about a spiritual?
No,
Okay.
none of those. Just the physical.
How'd that go?
Okay, I guess. I don't know. I mean, like,
Were they just like take it off, spin around? Nice.
you know, like they get you in a chair, they weigh you, they measure your height, they stick a bracelet on your arm, and they pump a thing up, and then they ask you some questions, and then they walk out of the room and go, "Okay, thanks, that'll be everything." And it's like, you know, nobody's like, "Wow, these are good numbers," you know.
They didn't even say anything about your gams.
Nah, nobody said anything about my gams.
That's fucked up.
I was asked a question about my gams. Somebody was like, "Have you noticed any unusual lesions or growth on your gams?" And I was like, "Nope." So yeah, I think I'm okay. I don't know. I got to go get some blood drawn because I'm middle aged now, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that's weird. That's weird to think. I don't imagine myself as middle aged. I don't picture myself as middle aged. I'm having trouble. I'm grappling with this. Not even my sense of mortality. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm halfway through life. What's going on? But just like, oh my god, I've been alive for this long. It does not feel like that. So I gotta go get some hematology done, and other tests at a lab. So that's gonna be a thing. But I'm old, guys. How did this happen?
Arrow of time, I guess. I felt old the other day because I sneezed and my neck hurt, and I'm like, that shouldn't have happened. It's like I mean but I did. I just I had to sneeze, as is common with a human, and then
Why did that have to be added?
And then I just and I sneezed and my neck moved a little bit, as also is common, and then it hurt a little, and I'm like, how is my neck out of shape? Like that.
You gotta do some neck lifts.
Yeah, this is.
I guess
this is bad news, Leon, because you had a back problem not that long ago.
Yeah,
and now I
think I hurt my back.
And now you hurt your neck sneezing.
Yeah, I also hurt my neck sleeping.
How are your teeth?
My teeth are great.
Yeah,
they're not perfect.
Your teeth are okay? Are you like, you're not having like a sensitive, or your gums receding?
No, my gums are good. My teeth are, I have one snaggletooth, but besides that, my teeth are fine.
Everybody's got a snaggletooth.
Leon, you're going to come crawling back to me in a decade being like, I'm sorry, your idea of leaving behind my mortal form to become an energy being was so right. You were right the whole time. And then it'll be too late, Leon, and I won't let you join me in my energy jellyfish utopia. And you'll just have to stay in your rotting body.
Cool.
Did you guys see the, I don't know if you want to call it a remix of our podcast that Sam did in the forums?
Yes. Oh my god. I listened to it like 3 times in a row, and I just could not stop.
I was
howling. I did not see this.
Okay.
I
just posted it. It's in the chat.
Okay,
I had the link ready. I was so excited.
Nice.
Boobs!
Oh, neat.
That's racist. Just say nice.
Boobs!
Just say nice.
Boobs!
Nice.
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 Nice. Nice. Nice. Nice.
Damn.
Oh, just don't. Oh, God. I want to bottle some of that.
Christ. No.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Get that in you. Get it on you.
Christ. No.
Oh, God.
Awooga. And she said,
Nice. Nice.
Damn. Damn.
Anyway, I'm done, and also, I'm sorry.
Nice.
Okay. So that's done, anyway. So thank you to the fan for making that. That was really good. Actually, that brings to mind something I did want to talk about. I laughed a lot at that and many other things, as people have probably noticed about me over the years. I'm watching Mystery Science Theater 3000, the new season, and I'm just not laughing at all.
Yeah, I've only seen the first episode, and I thought the riffing was pretty good. Like, it's like these are like funny people who are making decent jokes. I'm not crazy about the interstitial stuff, but I didn't really like that much in the original Mystery Science Theater that much.
Oh, okay.
Like the robots and stuff. It's fine. I don't have any problem with it. It's just it doesn't really speak to me.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Like, the show is not... I mean, besides the fact that some of the delivery is a little more rapid fire, the show is not noticeably different from the earlier seasons. And that's fine. I think if they changed too much, people would be upset. But what I'm trying to say is, I laughed a whole lot during those seasons, and I'm not now. So I'm wondering if the show hasn't changed, then I did?
Are you saying that you're worried you might be a bit of a grump now, Leon? Because I can settle this for you. You're a grump.
It could be that, but it's also just some. I mean, like I said, I laugh at all kinds of shit, but like for some reason my tastes have somehow changed, and I thought about it, and I guess I didn't realize it until recently, but I've never watched a new Mystery Science Theater 3000 as an adult.
Yeah, I was also thinking, had you seen anything like it before you saw the original? Because it's so like foundational, like so much of like internet comedy kind of comes from that, like sarcastic, snarkiness, that I feel like it's kind of been there, done that a little bit. I still enjoy it, but it definitely doesn't feel fresh or anything.
Yeah, the last new episode aired shortly after I turned 17. If I have my math right, yeah, it is. So like, I'm 34. I'm gonna be 35 in a few weeks, and I don't know.
So you have now lived more of your life without Mystery Science Theater 3000 than with it.
Let me do math real quick.
If you're turning 35, and it was 17 when it finished.
Yeah. Yes, that is the math in my head as well. So yeah, I guess that's true, and I'm not even sure. I'm not sure if I have a point. I'm just like,
I understand what you're saying. That
I'm surprised.
Have you lost your taste for it, or is it? I think it's maybe that it's just it's not special anymore. It's
tastes change. I mean, there's like I think it's ridiculous for people to expect that you're always going to be into something. Like I have this I have gone back and forth between anime country like more times than someone trying to like smuggle people out of a war zone or something like that. Like I have these stints where I'm like, oh my god, I'm really into anime again, and then I'll go off it for like 8 years. And I'll think to myself, God, it's not good anymore, which is just ridiculous to think that like nobody's doing anything good in a genre, or people, we don't stay the same.
Yeah.
So like I'm just joking when I say that you're a grump, Leon. You are a bit of a grump, but it's not that far out in the realm of possibility for you to be confronted with Mystery Science Theater 3000 and for it to not tickle your tastes anymore.
Yeah,
that's not weird. I mean,
no, I guess not. I mean, I'm still gonna give it another chance because I watched 4 episodes so far, and I'm told that like the last few are the best. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll be like, wait a minute, they weren't gelling, and that was the problem. But I get the feeling that maybe it's more me.
Also, you don't really like bad movies in a vacuum anyway, right? Because I'm someone who enjoys watching bad movies, and also bad video games and stuff in a bunch of different ways, and then having humor on top of it is just like more enjoyment for me. Where it seems like you struggle through bad stuff to try to get to the jokes that aren't like maybe the best you've ever heard, and that's just not a great cocktail for you.
Did you watch Star Crash?
No, I have not. I watched I think like the first 4 so far.
Sorry. just remembering Star Crash.
Great. I'll give it a shot.
It is an Italian Star Wars ripoff starring the Hoff.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And another thing about Mystery Science Theater is that it's kind of a gatekeeper for like nerddom in a way. Like there's a cult around it of people who are like, oh, I get all these references because I am also nerdy, and it was like a thing that we all shared together. And now as nerd culture is just culture, it's kind of subsumed everything, and also incredibly toxic from a number of angles. It doesn't really hold that appeal anymore, and now it kind of seems like the things that once made it special now make it seem like mainstream. It's like, oh, they're being snarky about a bad thing. That's yeah, I've been on the internet. That's just a thought that occurred to me. I don't know how much of that actually factored into your viewing of it, but like Mystery Science Theater used to be special to people.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, oh, it's a show that's like all the internet shows.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, I just really can't stand Patton Oswalt. I had like a couple other things I want to talk about, but they're just so really they're just depressing.
Yeah. My problem is
like,
a lot of the things that I've been like watching are like just more of the things I've already talked about. Like, oh, the next season of Better Call Saul, or the next season of Fargo, or more Persona 5, and it's like, remember that conversation we had 6 months ago? More of that. I don't know. Or like Persona was last week, but it's just like this actually has something I've been talking about recently, is how doing a show where I need like fresh content every week has affected how I enjoy media. Because it's like, oh, hey, do you want to watch this? And it's like, I don't know if that's going to give me anything to talk about, which is like a weird thing, like a weird prison I've trapped myself in. And like, obviously I could just not, like, I don't think any of our listeners will hold it against us if we just come on here and we're like, what do you guys think about boners? Like, we could just do whatever. But we
do talk about that a lot.
We do. But I also like to pretend like I'm trying. Or I actually do like to try. But so yeah, I finished Nier. Persona 5 is still Persona 5, stuff like that.
Okay. I saw Beauty and the Beast, the new one, in the theaters the other day. I was bored, basically. That's the extent of it. I just wanted to get out of my apartment and also into like someplace with like good air conditioning and like nachos.
Who is that for? That movie?
Are you having an air conditioning problem in April?
No, I just it's nice though.
Okay, so more a climate control thing.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not sweating in my apartment. I was just like, what's nice? A big theater.
That animated movie still exists, right? And it's still fine.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Okay.
Like, all right, and that's kind of how I feel. If I pretended that the animated movie just never existed, and Disney said, "Hey, here's Beauty and the Beast," I would be like, oh, these songs are good. I like these songs. I like most of this story. Cool. But because it does deviate in some noticeable places.
Is it the same songs? Are they the same songs?
Oh, yeah. And there's like a new song, but yeah, they are all your favorite songs from Beauty and the Beast are in Beauty and the Beast.
And all those ones that I hate so much.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's all that. The lyrics are slightly different in Gaston, I noticed, because I know all the lyrics to Gaston. But by and large, it is the same movie with a few noticeable differences. One is LeFou is like hella gay, which is cool. They kind of like the way they advertise it. I'm not sure if it was someone who's involved in it, or maybe it was just the headline. But it said like Disney has its first openly gay character, and I'm like, no, they have a character who is like, the implication on many parts of the film is that he is gay, but he is not openly gay because he is a closeted gay man. That is not.
In universe, he is not openly gay.
Yes,
he is exactly. Like they're just acknowledging to audiences. Yes, he is gay.
This is the first time Disney has been open about it.
Yeah, there's been there was like a couple like sort of like nods to it in the song. You know, like he sort of like holds Gaston in a way that is very romantic, and Gaston is like, you know, too much. And then at the end, Gaston, you know, and sort of like a wink to the audience, Gaston says, "Oh, how has a young lady never picked you up?" You know, and that was it. And then at the end, he like briefly dances with a man who likes being in makeup. And it was like, oh, okay, well, that's, you know, I mean, confirmed, I guess. But no one's openly anything. Like, well, I mean, Gaston is so openly straight. I mean, he wants people to think
God.
that anyway.
When are the straight people gonna get a voice? When are they gonna be courageous to be openly straight in movies? Representation, equal representation, people.
Yeah, they're so that was like one noticeable difference. And that's cool. The only like bad change that they made, like deeply bad change, was that they changed Beast's arc. Kind of, because in the animated film, you know, when we meet Beast, he's just an asshole. And he continues to be an asshole for a long time. And even when he's changing and trying to be a better person, he's still kind of an asshole. And then later on, he's not an asshole. He's just this big, you know, he's this big lumbering doofus who sucks throughout most of the first Beauty and the Beast. And that makes his change more, you know, meaningful. Like 10 minutes after we meet the Beast, and, you know, he's like skulking around the shadows, we learn that he's like an intellectual. He speaks like very, very calmly and very politely afterwards. You know, he's like, "This is my library. I have read everything in here." And it's like, okay. And then he's reading something, and Belle comes up to him, and she's like, "What are you reading? Is that Lancelot and Guinevere?" And then I'm almost confident he says, "Well, actually, it's..." And I just sat there like, did you do that? So it basically makes his change not a change. He's always really great. And it's like, that's not Beauty and the Beast, is it? So that
he's
struck
just
me
a
as
lonely,
odd.
sad boy.
He's just a little sad. You know, one would think so. They changed a few other things. They tried to answer criticism from the original movie. Because in the original movie, when Beast is cursed, everyone else in the castle is cursed too. And everyone was like, that's fucked up. They didn't do anything. I mean, why are they all, basically Cronenberg body horrors now, living as teacups and shit? That sounds terrible, and they didn't do anything. But they addressed that in a scene, and then they all said, we were all responsible because we were his servants and we didn't raise him right. And I was like, oh, fuck off with that. You know, it's just terrible. They try, I don't know. They tried to, I can't remember. I know there was something else that they tried to answer in it, but, there was stuff like that. But that being said, like all those criticisms aside, and I feel like they are all valid, I also felt like it was pretty good. It was fine. It's hard to basically play all those songs that everyone loves, and you know, mostly stick to a story that everyone already loved and be shitty. So they had a lot to work with, basically, and they only fucked it up a little. But man, did they fuck that one thing up. Okay, I've talked a lot about this. I hope people enjoyed it. And I know that's not a hot take because this has been out for a month. And everyone has written a million think pieces about New Beast, Neo Beast, that people don't like because they remind them of bad people on the internet. That is what I got. I also saw Power Rangers, but I don't have like strong feelings about it. It was just fun. And that's it. Austin, how's your exam going?
Wait, do you think I'm doing it right now?
You were muted, so I was like, maybe that's what's going on.
No, dog. I'm definitely gonna start that like an hour before it's due. I'm only like 85 hours into Persona 5. What do you take me for? Gotta finish it up. Gotta see how it ends.
Okay.
My life's the best. Do you guys? We have. Let's see. Oh wait, we're actually making good time. Usually, this is the part where I look up. I'm like, oh, we've been going for an hour and a half. We should answer a question before we run out. But we're actually only 45 minutes in.
Yeah.
Maybe we're boring this week. I have someone asked me a couple weeks ago. I'm just gonna talk over anyone else who tries to talk. That's how this works now.
Do it.
A couple of weeks ago, someone asked me to like how the other campaign I did in the Meat Space ended, the D&D campaign with Father Carlos and my brother's Mind Flayer character. That campaign was called Squid Squad because they were an evil group led by a Mind Flayer who is like a anthropomorphic guy with a squid fur face. And I thought I told this story, but apparently not. And so I want to run through this real quick for the ending of that story I guess I started because stop me if any of this sounds familiar. I was basically testing Lorelei, aka Dice Funk Season 2, on my real life friends to check the math and see how that stuff worked. And so when I did it on air, it wouldn't be like the first time I ever DM'd for an audience, which would have been probably a mistake. So they actually ran through basically the same campaign and it came out totally differently. Have I told any of this before? My brain is off tonight.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay, so I guess spoilers for Dice Funk Season 2 if you haven't caught up. But I want to talk as fast as humanly possible about the different ways that those two things happened. Because I think it's super interesting how flexible D&D storytelling can be, even from the same blueprint. Because, like, Dungeons & Dragons publishes adventure books. It's like, go here are the enemies, here's the treasure. But you can play it multiple times and get totally different results. So the first arc when we played together as Dice Funk was that you guys went through a forest, which was full of like living evil trees that like attacked you. And then you got confronted by the boss, which was like a giant tree, which in our version crushed multiple characters in its giant tree hands while Johnny's character had to run off and save them by killing the thing that was controlling them. In our game, you guys basically lost the fight to the tree, and Johnny saved you all by attacking the heart, and he had basically full health, and so the heart didn't stand a chance, and he won that fight easily. In the Squid Squad version, they didn't get grabbed by the tree. All four of them ganged up on it and killed it in a straight one-on-one fight, but they were all down to like 1 health, and so when they walked over to the heart, it killed one of them and took over their body. So that's like
great.
It's basically the polar exact opposite of what happened. Like you guys, it was just like 2 bad rolls, one to get grabbed and one not to break out of the grab, I think, which led to, I think it was Leon and Lauren's character were just in the grip of the tree for the entire fight and really didn't get to contribute, which is fine. I think that's kind of a funny scene, but that so badly tipped the balance of that fight that it was essentially unwinnable, and so you had to like use the other way around, where they won. Like, quote unquote, they did better, but the actual outcome was that one of them had like an evil tree thing living inside them for the rest of the campaign, which like basically they had an entirely different character arc. So like there's a version of that campaign where that was their arc, was that they had a tree inside them. The second arc you guys did was where you went to the mountains and you had to decide whether or not to work with orcs to go inside of a mountain to get past a really strong creature. And in your guys' version, you guys went and made a deal with the orcs, but then Johnny's character flipped out and broke the deal, which resulted in you guys getting your asses handed to you. But then you escaped while they tore each other apart. It's kind of complicated, but the basic point is instead of getting the orcs' assistance, you took the head of the leader and brought it back to the monster who was guarding the path and used that to get through. In the Squid Squad version, when the monster guarding the path said, "Bring me the head," they said, "We're going to do that." Immediately, they snuck into camp, cut the head off, and just escaped with it. They didn't even kind of try to talk to the orcs. Like, they 100% were committed to Operation Head Steal from the jump, where you guys kind of walked backwards into the head. But I think it's funny that neither group successfully got the orcs to do the thing they really wanted to do, which was fight. that I could never have expected that, and yet it happened twice. Was the third arc was you guys were in a city and there was a museum full of powerful objects and also a serial killer. In yours, Johnny just walked in and got a free item, and then
Woo!
Lauren stole one later. So you guys got 2. In theirs, they actually did like an Ocean's 11 Mission Impossible like heist where all 4 of them worked together to break in, and they all stole an item. So they got 4, but that faction was hostile to them from there on out. And then the serial killer, it's funny because you guys, I kind of pitched it as like Clue, like we're in this mansion trying to figure out who the killer was, but because other story things were going on at the same time, how that resolved was like an angry mob ended up descending on you, and the killer revealed themselves because the killer trusted you, and they were like, "Oh, you would agree with my methods. We're on the same page." Like and then that was just so it kind of resolved itself, and I think it was a good way the way it turned out. But in theirs, they were incredibly antagonistic to everyone involved, and so the killer hated them. And what ended up happening was the killer who had lycanthropy ended up biting one of them, and they got weird out. Like their character arc was that they were a lycanthrope for the rest of it because they got bit. And also they burned the mansion down on top of some of the NPCs. So if you guys felt bad about your performance at any point, let it be known that it could have gone much worse at basically every juncture. And then the last arc was there was like tensions between 2 populations, and at the end of the day, Lauren was able to hit a charisma check to broker an uneasy peace between them. One of them was an occupying force, but like there wasn't any kind of like large scale battle. And in Squid Squad, they immediately took one side and then led that side in a battle to ethnically cleanse the other, and were successful. So, first of all, evil party, clearly.
Sure.
But also, I think it's really cool that there's not a single one really turned out the same way. And I think it totally worked and was a really flexible kind of spine for this thing. And they also didn't have the same villain. Like the final antagonist was not yours, wasn't mentioned in theirs, and theirs was not mentioned in yours because they just didn't roll out the same way. And so the way that Squid Squad ended was Father Carlos, the creepy priest who killed families and then collected their children to create like a cult around him, which is a thing I mentioned the first time I talked about Squid Squad. How that ended was he sacrificed all those children in a dark ritual to become a demon lord, and then like fucked off to the demon realm to just be a demon lord. And then the rest of them like descended down there to fight him, and they didn't win, but they didn't die either. Like some of them died. It's kind of complicated, and I won't go too much into it. The highlight was my friend Cam, aka Clam, had 2 characters. One from an earlier campaign we did that my friend DM'd called Kanye Quest, where there was an orc who was on a quest, and his name was Kanye. And that I brought that character back as an NPC, and so Cam ended up fighting himself as his final boss, and
nice.
They both died.
Excellent.
It was amazing. Also, Cam was playing a ghost, and he still died. Cam was amazing. And now we're playing a new game. I don't have a name for it. We're just kind of fucking around right now. But the characters' names are Mobius Hobius of Jobius. That's my brother's character's name. My friend Scott, who is the guy who played Father Carlos, is playing a character called Ice Cool 911. Fuck.
Austin, you're not allowed to like make fun of my characters anymore.
We're not broadcasting it.
Doesn't matter. I just want you to know, like every time you say, Leon, that's too weird, I'm gonna say Ice Cold 911.
Cam is playing a character called Stacks, as in like stacks of cash.
Sure.
Shit. My roommate is playing a character called Haha Clinton Dix, which is sounds like a weird dumb joke, but it's actually the real name of a football player. If you Google haha Clinton Dix, a real man will appear on your screen because he exists. Okay. And then we had
I'm still a little afraid to do it.
And then we had a new player who showed up who did not anticipate the tone, and so he showed up for the first session with a character called Artemis. Which is He's just like playing D&D, which is a huge mistake at our table. And so I think in the last session, he renamed himself the Vape Lord. And he just vapes aggressively at the table now while we're playing. Have you Googled Clinton Dix yet?
I'm staying away from that one.
It's DIX.
Oh, well, then it's just going to get me Clinton Dix.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, not Bill.
Right, I understand that, but like.
So that's
it's just a guy. So I guess it's just disappointing. I'm sorry.
It's just a real man, but it's also like if you hear it in a vacuum, it sounds like wow, they tried really hard to be funny. But no, it's just a guy. Anyway, that's my group that I'm doing like meat space games with now. We're I'm kind of experimenting with encounters and situations and stuff to bring over to Dice Funk, but they'll basically never turn out the same just because the personalities are so different, and that is why tabletop role playing exists and is cool.
Yep.
So
good speech.
Thank you.
Before we
vote for me in the TED Talk poll, and let's see if we get this on stage.
Okay. Before we go into questions, I just want to say that my favorite comment on the 4chan thread about my La La Land episode.
Holy crap! Are you? You're on 4chan? How do we find this?
All the time, all the time. I like once a week, to basically check what's going on with my brand. I Google Renegade cut, and then over the last week, and stuff pops up, and this one was on 4chan. Mm-hmm. Usually, the information is not that beneficial to the show, but occasionally I learn something about what people might want. This was not helpful at all, but I felt like reading the entire thing. My favorite comment on the 4chan about La La Land was just this. Renegade cut. I thought he was dead. It's good. The rest of it's stuff about cucks.
I found it now. First of all, I never even considered trying to find anything about r/your/my work on 4chan, but now it makes so much obvious sense because of course they would hate watch your shit, right?
Oh yeah. One of them, this one's good. A frog drooling said, and I said, and I'm gonna try to say this.
Yeah, green text.
But I feel like I'm gonna. Yeah, he said, I had to stop watching Desu. What? What did you say?
Do you not know what that means? Do you want me to explain?
Only kind of. No, actually, I'm a little off on certain things, and I guess that's it.
Desu is a Japanese word. It's like
I know it's a Japanese word, but I don't know what the context is for saying it, or what the literal translation is.
I mean, it's in the actual language. It is it's a linking thing. It's like a conjunction kind of. It's not like super meaningful. It's just used by English speakers like mockingly. He's just, yeah. He's just like I'm mocking you as in my 4chan. Like he could have said like kek or lol or something.
Oh, there is someone who said kek.
Yeah,
not just cuck, but kek.
No, in Persona 5, someone says kek, and someone else goes, "Holy shit, I've never heard that said out loud before." And I actually was super laughing in real life on that one. That was a pretty good joke. There's a lot of like stuff like that. Oh yeah, I found it. Here's kek.
Yeah. Someone there's more Japanese words. Someone says, "I don't know, senpai."
Yeah, I found that too.
It's like, yeah, there's a lot of words I'm not going to say out loud because they're just gross and terrible. But yeah, there's a lot of them. Anyway, that's it. Horrible people also watch my show. I don't want them to, but they do. The problem is like they say like you get the audience you deserve, and 90% of my audience are great, but because my show is also political and philosophical, there is also a contingent of people who will watch it to hate it, much in the same way that like there are like terrible people on like the opposite is true. Like there like all those really shitty YouTube shows about like white nationalism and horrible things. People who are not white nationalists will watch it to say, oh, this is a problem and we should address this. So that a lot of their hits come from people who just strongly disagree with them. So so the opposite of my interests, which is people from 4chan, also watch my cuck-ass SJW show. So because they just can't deal with it. Someone this is nice. Someone actually said they subscribed. Thanks, one of many people who said anonymous. It's like, cool, good for you. All right, I reached someone on 4chan.
I mean, we've talked about 4chan in the past, and there's always like one or two commenters who are like, oh, the board I'm on is perfectly cool and nice. And I'm sure that's true. But the kind of places who would talk about your stuff, which is explicitly political, is almost always going to turn into a tire fire just because of the nature of that discussion, right? Mm-hmm. Is there any place that you found that's like not that? Because YouTube comments are bad.
My comment section, like I said, like 90% of the time, really good. I believe I've cultivated a good and mature audience over the years. I have stumbled upon occasional places that do talk about my show in a not shitty way. IMDb apparently had like the worst forums ever, but there was a lot of stuff about mine on there. I can't think of it offhand. I know like my stuff pops up on NeoGAF from time to time. It's interesting. I have to keep up with this. I'm a company of one, so I'm also market research in addition to customer service, in addition to everything that goes into making an episode. That's it. I'm not sure if I had a point. I just wanted to talk about that guy who thought I might be dead. And then it just spiraled out of control. Yeah. Like a 4chan thread.
Nice.
Yeah, I did it. All right. You want to, unless you guys have anything else you want to say? I mean, we can get into questions now if you want.
I can do questions. I have one here that seems very Johnny.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah, it's good.
Get it.
Miran Bati asks, favorite type of tea?
That depends.
Oh yeah, I knew it was a Johnny question.
Oh, there are layers to this one.
He's got opinions.
I mean, because there's herbal teas and then there's black teas and things like that. So like,
why do you always have to make it about race?
No, I like caffeinated teas. Shut up your face. I usually have about 2 cups of tea in a day. Sometimes it's a white tea, sometimes it's like the caffeinated tea will sometimes be a white tea or a green tea. I recently discovered this one that is like an orange rind black tea like spice. I think there's like anise in there and cinnamon, and it's really nice. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's good. And I usually have a tea as part of my bedtime routine, which is like a chamomile vanilla. I really like those. I'm also a big fan of mint tea. I love mint. So yeah, Earl Grey is good. Lady Grey is quite nice. I like chai, but it takes a while to prepare if you're doing it properly. I don't know. Tea's good.
Well done. It's good stuff.
Do you have any opinions on tea? I don't know anything about tea. The only tea I've ever had has been given to me by girlfriends who are just like, drink this. And I'm like, flavors. I don't know anything.
Yeah, my tea costs 99 cents and it's in a long tube at a store.
Yeah, Publix brand tea is like a box of like 200 tea bags for $1 or something, which I assume means it's just dirt, but that's how I grew up. That's how the tea was in my house.
Okay.
I'm imagining Johnny seeing it and crying.
I don't even drink much iced tea anymore. Like I've been, largely off caffeine for a few weeks now, and sodas and things that I used to put into my body that were very bad.
Anyway. Yeah. Also in the South, what we call tea is really just like sugar water, mildly brushed with a leaf.
That's cool.
So I don't know if that even counts. Zoxion asks, would you enjoy a story where Bruce Wayne fought crime with philanthropy and political might instead of dressing up and punching it?
That was like 90% of Ex Machina, a comic book series that was basically about a superhero in politics who mostly did politics and occasionally superhero stuff.
Really, I've never heard of that. I thought it was just
it was
that movie.
Nope, it was actually really good. The non superhero stuff was the best part, but the superhero stuff was fine. So yes, I guess the answer to that is yes. They've done that. Basically when people say things like, well, we have to have, Batman, in this comic book. I mean, no one wants to hear about the police. And then they made like the best Gotham, comic in a while called Gotham Central, made by, Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka. Wow. I'm really dating myself here because like I'm thinking about comic books back when I used to read them. And that was like, it feels like so long ago. And Gotham Central was a very long time ago.
I did a Batman last night.
Yeah, I'm looking up the Ex Machina comic. It won an award for Best New Series, and it's had the film rights option twice to no avail.
Yeah.
So, like, apparently it's a thing people know about and appreciate. I just never heard of it. Huh.
It's quite good.
No, I mean, I actually played the Batman VR game last night.
Oh, no. The one where you can throw stuff at Alfred?
Yeah.
I
did.
Did you beat him?
No, actually, what I tried to do was hack into the Bat computer so I could get Netflix up and going because I, as Batman, wanted to sit down and watch Dancer in the Dark.
How'd that go?
It didn't pan out.
Oh.
Yeah, turns out the Bat computer not Netflix compatible.
It's a shame.
I know. I was kind of miffed.
It's no wonder he's so grumpy.
Yeah, obviously can't get his movie on.
Oh. I just read a question, which I can't believe we didn't just make this whole entire episode about. I really hope this turns into a thing. Page Turner says, I got an audiobook from the library. I found a porn DVD tucked behind disc 2. What should I do? Just leave it here? Tell them? Keep it? Help!
I would watch it first, just out of curiosity.
You gotta know what you're dealing with, first of all. And they actually replied, it's an 80s porn, by the way. I get the feeling someone will ask.
Okay.
I need more information.
No,
is what I need.
I'm a little confused because they said it's 80s porn. Did they transfer everything from 80s porn onto DVDs later? Like, get your classics of porn.
it's the Criterion collection.
Right.
What did they say what it was in?
What, you mean what the audiobook was?
Yeah, what was the audiobook? Because if it was like...
Statistically speaking...
Proust or something?
I think it has to be Harry Potter because that's the only book that counts anymore. Right?
Okay, well, let me say this. I was going to ask you this. He's not here. Let me say this. The problem with just returning it as is that they might check this time and they'll say, oh, this guy on this library card did this. So honestly, like the non-joke answer is to say, hey, I borrowed this DVD or CD from the library the other day, but it didn't have it inside, and in fact it had like a pornographic thing.
So wait, you would confess to this porn existing, is what you're saying? I feel like that's making more of an issue than it needs to be.
I feel like in order to cover your own butt in this particular case, you need to come forward with what's going on. Also, like, frankly, if you like say this isn't my problem and like put it back in the store, some like child could get a hold of that.
This is why the material, like, it's important for me to know the material.
It's porn. I mean, even if it's softcore, this probably isn't what like the parents who got the kid thing is Debbie down with. It's not that they're like it's like, oh, it's just vaginal.
No, yeah,
but if
what's
it's
your
like,
line, Johnny? You're like, well,
but if it's
I was fine with returning it until they brought out the riding crop, and then I thought maybe this needs to go in the personal collection.
Look, all I'm saying here is that if it's an audiobook of like Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer, the next person who checks it out might be delighted.
I don't get that reference.
It's apparently sexy.
Okay, you could have just said like
I've never actually read it, but I'm like vaguely aware of it, and only vaguely. Okay, so the real answer is that the library is a sacred place, and you need to protect it.
No, it's...
And you need
Hey, Leon, have you ever worked in a library?
I have not worked in a library, but I've spent a surprising portion of my life in them.
Okay, so, I mean, me too. I didn't have internet until high school. Also, I did community service for crimes in a library. I've been in a lot of libraries. There's nothing innocent or sacred about libraries. It's mostly kids who have to be there, who are being shitty, and then like weird adults looking at porn on the computers. It's bad.
Okay. Well, also, there's a ton of useful information, Austin.
So I hate to burst your bubble, Leon. The internet has existed for a while.
See, here's the thing. I know what you're gonna say, but yeah, that doesn't mean that. I mean, yes, you could probably pirate the book that you want, but still, there's like a treasure trove of books at your local library, kids. And you should take advantage of that.
Do you not know how to work a Kindle? Is that what's happening?
Is this...
Yeah, I understand what you're... Yeah, I'm talking about... Yeah, you can buy a book, or you could borrow lots and lots of books. Not everyone has Kindle money, Austin.
Okay, are we certain that this pornography came in place of the audiobook?
No,
or was
behind
it just like
disc
a bonus?
2.
Behind disc 2.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a surprise, like a Cracker Jack box thing.
Yeah. All right.
Maybe it's like a promotion, like rent 2 audiobooks, get one, Buttmasters $69.69 free.
Yeah.
That series is frankly gone on too long.
That's another thing that I want to know. Is it a sequel or is it a launch title? Because if it's a sequel and they don't have the other ones, there's no reason why that should go back to the library.
Yeah, you can't just jump in the middle. You're going to lose all context. Also, I still feel like they respect new IP in that industry. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just so scared of not attaching their own name.
I feel like kind of a hypocrite right now because I'm extolling the virtues of the library, but I not too long ago got an account at scribed.com where I get like hundreds of thousands of books at my fingertips for a very yeah, I know, and I know. I mean, I haven't given up my library cards, but it's almost everything I want is right there. Not everything, but like 9 times out of 10, if I want a book, it's right there, and it's very helpful in my research.
I mean, now that you've broken down the fourth wall in this bit, I should say I actually do think libraries are super important for like impoverished people like myself. Like that, I could not have got through school without it. So obviously, just joking. But for the purposes of this bit about porn, here's what I think. I think you should keep the disc, but replace it with something of yours that you've watched already and you don't think you need it anymore. It's like give a porn, take a porn. And then the next person who rents that will have a fun experience just like you had.
What I think you should do, all right, okay, here's what I think you should do. Is I'm with Leon that it's the digital age and that we don't necessarily have to entirely lean on material copies of things to access information. So what I suggest you do is try and find a high-res transfer on the internet somewhere, copy the URL link down on the inside of the DVD case. And be like, hey, if you were looking for Ass Passes 12, you can find a higher res version at this URL right here.
See, now...
Just so that when someone goes back and is like, where's my copy of Ass Passes 12? And then you're like, I got you, fam. Go to Pornhub. Or whatever.
Now, this is an entirely separate gambit where everything you borrow from the library from here on out, you leave a URL inside. And then it's like your own national treasure starring the Nicolas Cage, where you're trying to lead them on a porn treasure hunt. What's at the end of the porn treasure hunt? No one knows.
Booty.
I mean, yeah, you got...
It's booty.
Yeah, you got it in one, huh? That was the answer. That's the joke. I wish we had built up to it a little bit more. It's booty. God. It's not worth returning it, right? Because the conversation you have to have is so catastrophic as a person with social anxiety. I would rather eat the DVD than have to explain it being in my possession.
Yeah, there's no way that you can explain that off. Because if somebody is like, why did you do this? And you're like, it wasn't me.
Yeah, sure, buddy.
It was somebody else. Be like,
I'm just holding it for a friend.
Yeah.
I know there's some.
I mean,
yeah, go.
You could always just, I mean, like if you don't want if you don't want the DVD and you're also too embarrassed to return it, you could just do your civic duty and destroy the DVD.
Civic duty, you fucking square.
No, man, you play it like The Ring. You get yourself an empty DVD in case of something else. Go to your local Salvation Army, and just leave it in the donations bin. Nobody's going to check that. Okay,
we haven't really approached the question of how it got there in the first place, because what if this is an ARG? This is a viral marketing campaign for...
Are you suggesting that, like, somebody geocached?
Yeah, exactly.
This porn DVD, and there's some website out there that's like, oh, wait until you guys find what I left in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, also a pretty good name for a porn.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is viral marketing for Wonder Woman. I'm just going to say it. It seems like something Warner Brothers would do.
I'm glad they're trying to market it at all.
But
however,
I've heard like Jack Squat about never mind. I'm sorry. I don't want to get onto a rant about why they're setting up Wonder Woman to fail.
However, if the porn in question involves clowns, it is viral marketing for it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what I would do. If I was, how else do you market that movie, right? You can't just like dress up an actor and have them go around trying to entice children into the sewers. Can you?
That would be a bad idea.
So where do we come down on this final like judgment on this question? Because
change your name, move towns.
I feel like there's some
burn bridges, never look back.
There are some confident motherfuckers out there who I know would be fine with it. They like return it and they'd be like, sir, what's this? They'd be like, it's my fucking porn. What do you like? Get out of my face. Like they could do it. I couldn't. I could never. I would bury it in the yard like a cursed artifact. I would get my top men to take it away, and then I would return it. And if they asked anything about it, I would just deny all knowledge.
What would be really great is if you tried to return it, and then the guy at the library was like, they have a higher res version of this on Pornhub, right?
Just repping them tonight, Johnny.
Yeah. I have a pretty good relationship with my local library, so I feel like if I just explained what was going on, they would believe me, That's not like a fun answer, but that's probably what I would legitimately do.
They would say they believe you, but do you really think in their deep inner heart, part of them wouldn't think, oh, it's the pervert every time you walk in?
Yeah, there'd be a conversation around the dinner table that night.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would, but also, like, if I'm a librarian and someone said, hey, someone slipped porn into this thing, I couldn't say, oh, this is obviously your porn, because if it were my porn, like, why would I be doing that? Why would I be giving it away? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, that's what had to happen in the first place.
Maybe the culprit is in the porn, and they just want to share their creative life's work.
That's what you do. Keep the DVD. Record your own. Spread it around. That's the only way. And then the next...
I would definitely not do that.
The next person will keep your disc, and then they'll make their own. It's 2017, guys.
I feel like you need to leave instructions in addition to just that, and then can we do another question?
No, because Leon, the next person will ask a podcast what they should do, and obviously they will reach the same answer.
So is this really just like a tool to keep podcasts going?
Listen, we need help.
The real answer is just get rid of the DVD and return the thing. Yeah.
Fun show, Leon.
Yeah. You have no respect for the library, I swear. How dare you? They give us books.
I didn't leave it
sometimes
there.
Newspapers.
I just like saying microfiche.
It's pretty good. It's not a bad word. It just sounds kind of weird coming off the tongue. You can't. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was say we've been assuming it's a public library, I think, but I spent like a lot of my existence in university libraries over the last.
Yeah, what if it's a school library?
Yeah, what if it's like fucking Golden Eagle Elementary or something?
Okay, yeah, if it's a school library, don't mess with that shit. Don't you dare put it back.
Oh, just completely get rid of it. Yeah.
Because even if you had
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You don't want to be connected in any way, shape, or form with pornography in an elementary school. Like, why are we talking about this
in a school at all? You don't want because public library. Okay, sure, whatever. But like if you're a student of an institution and somebody is like, he put porn in with the Tropic of Cancer. Then yeah, like that will totally reflect badly on your standing within the institution. So don't fuck with that shit. If that's the case, if it's a school library, I'm betting it's the fucking librarians.
Why? Are they just Johnny Appleseeding porn throughout the audiobooks?
They have some that they keep at work, and at one point in time they're like, oh shit, I gotta hide this. Better put it in this audiobook that just came back. And then, they forgot they did it, and then, so...
Oh, so they were... then in that case, it's probably not Harry Potter. It's probably some obscure thing they didn't think people were gonna check out.
Yeah, that's a stash, is what that is.
Oh no, you found the stash! Oh, that's a pickle, guys. This is the plot of No Country for Old Men 2. And you stumble across the stash, and then people are trying to get it back, and there's no happy ending.
Yeah.
Spoilers, sir. No Country for Old Men.
I don't think we could do it as well as the Coen brothers. I'd be really hammy about it, and at the end, I would look at the camera and say, you know what? It really was No Country for Old Men.
I mean, they almost did. Yeah. Also, our version of that would 2 minutes in, Leon would take the suitcase full of money and be like, "This doesn't belong to us," and take it to the police station, and then we would all live like chumps.
Before we do one more last question, I want to say a few things, just in case we run out of time. First, I have to do because of Patreon. I have to do my next episode is on Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive, which is a I guess a tie-in movie to a video game they released.
You mean the Sean Bean and Game of Thrones lady vehicle?
Yeah. I don't know. A friend of mine, she was like, she said, I said, hey, I want to commission an episode. I'm like, cool, that's cool. And she's like, here's something. And I forget what she asked at first, but I was like, I'm not doing that. It's obscure. And then she said, okay, well, how about this? And I feel like I got trapped because this seems reasonable by comparison.
Yeah.
But also, I super don't want to do it, but I also don't want to be like, I'm too good for a video game movie. Look, Lord knows I'm not. But I just feel like I'm worried about how this is going to go over.
I mean, it doesn't also hurt that you could probably get a lot of eyes on you by doing a bunch of video game stuff. I think if you did a Renegade cut on the Pokemon movie or the Digimon movie or a Dragon Ball movie, it'd probably blow up.
I do have to think about my business more than my personal comfort. Otherwise, I'm Seb from La La Land. Second thing I wanted to say, I totally forgot. Shout out to all my fans on Reddit who always post my videos. I forgot about that entirely. I'm on the good part of Reddit. And the third thing, Austin, I hope that you appreciate the level of work I put into my character on Dice Funk. Because if this episode never goes live, it's because the NSA tracked me down because I had to Google how to hide a body.
Jesus.
Into Google. Stay tuned to see if I get to use any on the next episode of Dice Funk.
If you don't listen to Dice Funk, please, for the love of God, at least listen to season 3 up to episode 7 or so, because some special stuff goes down, and it's some of the work that I think no matter what we do afterward, everything will be compared to.
Great. All right.
You've done a thing to me.
No, we have, I think we have time for one more question.
Okay. Oh, Christ. People are going to look back on even this conversation and being like, wow, they really undersold that thing that Leon did that was very bad.
I look forward to it.
Oh, it's so much. A lot of people asking questions I really want to answer that are going to take 20 minutes.
We'll subvert expectations and answer them quickly.
All right,
lightning round.
Here's one. Jessica Sims asks, favorite musical? I mean, Hamilton's the obvious easy one, obviously. Is that within the spirit of the question? Just to name the most popular one that has ever existed, because it's very good.
All right. I like some musicals, but most of them, not are like Disney musicals.
La La Land, we know.
Yeah, I watched them. I've seen like a lot of musicals. I like half of them. I'm not a huge fan of musicals, but I know enough about them to talk about them. And my answer is The Little Mermaid. So everyone can just deal with that. Done. There, easy.
I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's definitely worth a mention. That there was a guy who many years ago basically wanted to, like, he's a composer, and he wanted to put together a little portfolio that was like, oh, this is the kind of like stuff that I can do, and in order to do that, they wrote music for Silence of the Lambs. So they basically wrote a musical called Silence the Musical. And it's got, like, there's a full 17-track, like, soundtrack to it. I think they even wound up deciding to put it on. But yeah, it's got some pretty fantastic songs. Silence the Musical. My favorite is the track "We're Going In," which reenacts the FBI raiding the wrong house. So it's got this big, like, there's this big, like, lead up and hornfare and stuff like that, and they're like, "We're going in, we're going in." And like, there's a huge crescendo, and then a small period of silence. And then the chorus goes, "There's no one here."
This is an incredibly Johnny sounding thing.
It's a good laugh. So that's definitely worth a look. Yeah.
Okay, I got two quick sports questions. Cyretha asks, Austin, are you following the NHL playoffs? Who do you want to win the cup? Unfortunately, I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan, so playoff hockey is not really ever in my wheelhouse. It's mostly Canadian teams, right? I guess, are the Blackhawks still in it? I'll go for the Blackhawks, but no, I'm not going to...
I think the Blackhawks got deep sixed.
Oops. Listen, guys, hockey is an amazing sport to watch. I have hitched myself to all of the bad wagons there, though, unfortunately, so not something I'm investing a lot of time in right now. Yeah, I'm looking at it now, and it's like Ottawa. I don't want them to win. Who's this? Edmonton? No, it's all Canada. It's all Canada up here. It's bad. Sorry, Johnny.
That's all right. We're not very exciting people.
Do you have any thoughts on the playoffs?
Nah.
And also got one from Alejandro Colon, who asks, what's Austin's favorite NFL team? Chicago Bears. They're also very, very bad. Just very bad. All of the professional sports teams I enjoy are the worst. The only team I'm even slightly associated with that's good is my college team, the Florida State Seminoles, who are champions repeatedly and often. Let's see. Here's a Leon question. Pruitt Holcomb asks, and I don't know what any of this means, that drag race elimination, who will you be rooting for now?
Yeah, basically, Eureka was the drag queen I was rooting for, and unfortunately, injury, like legit, like just got injured, and she's gone. She's been told that she can come back next season, like an open invitation. So like more Eureka next season, cool. That never really happens, but yeah, she was like on crutches, and they were like, "We can't let you continue because it's unsafe," and everyone was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." So I'm upset, but I get it. Shame. Who am I rooting for now? I have to think about it. I'll watch the next episode and see that, but that's not how I play the game. I pick one in the beginning. And I can't just keep saying, okay, now I'm rooting for... It's like, no, I lost.
It's very hardcore.
I won once when I like immediately picked Bob the Drag Queen, which is the best drag queen name. And like Bob took it. And that was good, but usually I'm wrong. Yeah, that's my answer. It's a good question.
All right.
Thank you.
I think we're out of time. I can do this one in like a half second, though. Miran Bhatti asks, what do you think of Persona 1 and 2? Do you prefer them over the new games? I enjoy those games very much, but they are very difficult to recommend. There's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, oh, I am totally okay with all of the ways that this game would repel other people. So they're very dungeon crawly, monotonous, old RPGs made for like the Dragon Quest crowd. They don't have a lot of the stuff people like from the new games with like the characters and the anime and whatnot. So I like them. I do not prefer them over the new games because all of the stuff the new games bring to the table is really valuable, and there's a reason people like it. It's just not necessary for me to enjoy them. Although they remade Persona 1 and especially and gave it all new music, which kicks ass. I think the soundtrack to Persona 1 PSP is perennially slept on. Like everyone is like, oh, the music in 3 and 4 and 5 is so good. Like don't cheat yourself out of listening to the soundtrack for the remake of Persona 1. It's super good. So that's the answer to that question. I don't recommend them, but I like them. And now I'm done talking for the night.
Cool. Anything you got? Anything? Sorry, it sounded mean. Like good.
This is just a weird one because last time we had so much focus on the one topic, right? And this week it was a lot of like, I don't know if this is good, but here I go.
Yeah.
So
anything you guys want to say right before we go?
No.
Also good.
All right.
Bye, guys. So let's desync. Hold on. We need to desync first.
No, I'm never desyncing. Never stop.
Okay.
Always good podcasting.
Always.
Never let go, Jack.